Vidka?
Hey. You're really campaigning for Bitch of the Year, aren't you?
I swear, one of these times you're gonna wake up in a coma.
If we can focus, keep discipline, and not have quite as many mysterious deaths, Sunnydale is gonna rule!
Hey, we're here. Hey, everybody. Oh, what happened to my notes? Welcome to episode 37 of GrrArghCast, the Joss Whedon recap podcast that brings together Slayer aficionados and virgins as we watch and review all things Whedon. I'm Brandon Ellison.
I've just blown in from the desert. I am Jewel Rocket Rose.
And thank you so much for joining us. We, as always, have BJ Kramer, our stalwart fact checker and producer, here to join us to talk about the initiative and the Bachelor party. And we have a returning guest in my buddy in Buffy and politics and all other things. Avens O'Brien is back. Hey, girl.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Jewel, you've been in Palm Springs, right?
I've been in Palm Springs. We had a girls' week, like an entire week away from the city. I got 2 COVID tests this week, one for my cousin's wedding that's on Monday and one to even go on the trip. You guys, I am so relaxed. And also just everyone, like, I can't even begin to tell you how tan I am. I am so dark right now. BJ, do you notice a difference? Brandon, do you see it?
You are
I'm
less
so
blindingly
dark.
white than usual. So, yeah.
You guys, if you haven't seen a picture of me or our video before, like, I am paste colored. I am translucent. I am a shade of pale that only happens, I feel like, after you die. So I'm very white, and I have this very pinky tone underneath with black hair. I look a mess all the time.
Just
You're
so
a
our
vampire.
viewers know, for the second time in a row, our comment thing on StreamYard is not working properly. So I have our comments up, and I will be monitoring them and sharing information with folks as they come on. They just won't pop up on the screen this time. Avens, you haven't been here since we switched over to the fancy pants StreamYard service.
I know, it's exciting. By the way, Joel, like we can discuss paleness later because like
I'm dark right now, Avens. Like, don't get it twisted. I have.
I don't
so
have the
much color.
ability to darken. Like that's the thing. It's like I don't have the ability to darken. I'm just like this white all the time. Like my skin is blue.
Me
Like-
too. Well, it's red, right? This
Yeah, like
You
I
guys.
get like you can usually see all of my veins, and like my legs are usually some shade of blue purple. Like it's
Look
really
at that
gross.
shit. Light reflects off of my pasty skin.
Right? I feel like-
Oh yeah, I glow in the dark, you guys. Like, let's not get it twisted. But I've been in the sun a little bit, and I've with my hats and 100-level sunscreens, which don't really work, by the way. And I have received what I like to call my golden cookie brown. This is as dark as I go. This is it.
We're both in LA. I should just meet you in person. We can just compare, like.
I mean, we
Compare
should.
with
I feel like you've got like the olive like more of like a yellow skin tone. I'm like pink.
I think what we're dealing with is the fact that I have better lighting than you.
Oh, right.
like I think that my lighting is making up for a whole lot of lack of color in my environment.
Speaking of pale, let's talk about vampires. I stole that from Naomi, who was commenting as GrrArghCast on the feed. Our first episode was The Initiative. The truth is down there. Unbeknownst to Buffy and the gang, Spike is captured by a commando squad for The Initiative, a mysterious underground laboratory beneath the streets of UC Sunnydale. Meanwhile, Buffy's psych TA Riley has a major Slayer crush and turns to Willow for advice on ways to woo. So, this episode, we finally find out who all these soldier boys are.
Yeah, we did.
And they are college students.
They are college students working for the professor / these are like assassins or trained killers of the demonic and underworldly. Is that right?
Okay.
Or is that where we are?
Yes. I mean, they're not really assassins. They capture them.
What kind of training have these young men have? I feel like it is SEAL Team 6. What is going on?
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty intense.
I looked it up, and Riley and the other guy with the more spiky hair, the white one, were both college athletes. So that's their training.
Oh, right,
no, that's
right,
not
right.
their. But they have guns and formation, and how do you know who's in charge? Like there is some militarization going on.
Yeah,
And
boy,
that bitchy
I hate the
teacher.
initiative.
It doesn't mean much. Xander got militarized at one point, so clearly the bar is low.
Yeah, I mean, Xander wore a costume and became militarized, so there you go.
G.I. Xander.
Yes, exactly. So Riley, Forrest, and Graham are all sitting in the cafeteria at the start of this episode watching Buffy get her food and like spilling yogurt and soda all over herself. And it's just like, and
She's
they're like,
having
and
a
Riley's,
day.
and Riley's still like, oh, she's so hot.
You
I
know
love a
what?
woman coated in yogurt.
You
And who
know, he is seeing past the struggles she is having that day. Like myself right now, my hair is still wet from swimming in the pool this morning. My clothes are still from the drive. I walked in here. I am sipping lemonade because they didn't have the Diet Coke machine working at In-N-Out. Like today has been a struggle and a half. And if a man recognized me the way someone he recognized, you know, Riley recognized Buffy. What are these people's names?
that Riley and Buffy is correct. Buffy, we've been talking about for 5 months now. So that's a name you should know.
You guys, I've been in the sun for a long time. I've like bleached my brain.
So Forrest, Graham, and Riley are all talking like about how hot Buffy is while she's covered in yogurt.
Is Forrest the black one?
Yes.
I liked him. He was very handsome. And he also, then when he said, "Are you pulling rank on me?" That was a moment.
Giles and Xander discover that the commando guys are human. And Buffy arrives and Giles tells her to patrol, but she says she's going to go to a party with Willow to hopefully cheer her up.
Why was it a question if they were human or not?
Well, because they're human demons all the time.
Lamenting.
Like,
Yeah, they had nothing to do, and they were trying to figure out something to do.
Yeah, because
Right.
I feel like you would know they were human by the guns, because demons don't seem to need ammunition. They usually have some kind of power that hurts or are worm-shaped.
That's true. Or they can tell what's happening in the future.
Or they are worm-shaped and that is their superpower.
Yes. Or they're penis snakes.
They're penis snakes, exactly.
Or they're very, very tiny.
So Spike wakes up in a
that was
facility where all these demons, different types of demons, are being held behind barriers. They're dropping blood packets in, but the vampire in the cell next to him tells him that they starve the vampires and they give them drug blood and then they do experiments on them. And Tom says that he was captured after his gang took on Buffy, so Spike thinks that Buffy is behind this whole operation.
I mean, I think that's a little far-fetched, Spike.
Spike clearly
I
has
realize
Buffy issues.
I knew it'd be a problem when that bitch got some funding. Like, what's the line? Like,
Yeah, I love that bit. I love the idea that if Buffy did get funding, would it look like the Initiative? Maybe. So Willow asks about Oz, but Riley says that Oz has dropped out. We find out in, I believe it's this episode, we find out his full name is Daniel Osborne.
yeah.
We've just been calling him Oz the whole time. Professor Walsh shows up and
He doesn't
says,
look like a Daniel.
No. Walsh shows up and says that he won't be welcome in the class. Willow gets pissed off. She leaves. And Buffy tells off the professor.
I love that Buffy moment. It's so good.
For someone who teaches, what was it? For someone who teaches human behavior.
Like, you should probably try showing some.
Yeah.
And then, like, well, that's not my job. And she's like, you're right. A human being in pain has nothing to do with your job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Buffy, yeah.
I mean, that is academic suicide, but you know, hey, she got away with
but
it.
also like she's kind of right.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Professor Walsh is kind of right. Sorry. I always take the side of the bad guys when we watch
Well,
these
like,
things.
Here's the
This
thing.
is
Like,
they're
there's-
both right.
There's a
No
way
one
to
to
be correct about like the school thing without being an asshole about it. It's like, I'm sorry that, your friend is facing some problems. We'll have to discuss that if he comes back. Like you fucking be a fucking human,
Right.
Your policy can be that they're out now, but like you don't have to be a dick about it.
Naomi is reminding us that Tom, the vampire in the cage next to Spike, was actually one of Sunday's gang and was tranked in the first episode. So that's he was. We've seen Tom before.
How do people remember that?
Because we've watched the show millions of times.
We're fucking nerds, man.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yes, it's
And
encouraged.
I recognized him. I just couldn't remember from when.
That happens too. That happens too. Like not recognizing somebody, but then being like, where the fuck do I know them from? Yeah.
So Forrest asked Parker about Buffy, and Parker like brags, and he's like, "Yeah, she was good." Oh my god, fucking Parker. And this is the last time we see Parker is him getting decked by Riley. That dude has been punched in the face so many times.
Yeah.
You would think he'd catch a hit. I mean, don't act like a douche canoe and no one will hit you.
Yeah, he got knocked out 3 times in
one
which
episode,
was it?
in Beer Bad.
Was it Beer Bad? Yeah.
Yeah, in the worst
Good.
episode.
Great
that
episode.
Jewel. By the
You
way,
would think
Avens,
though, after like a girl beat you up, like you think like you wouldn't talk about them for fear they would do it again.
yeah,
Think.
Parker.
Avens, Jewel loved Beer Bad. She loved it.
I thought that might happen. I think I
Yeah.
actually watched part of your recap of it. I couldn't watch the whole thing, but like
Yeah.
I saw that response to it and I was like, of course, Joel, I love Beer Bad. I don't necessarily think the Beer Bad's an amazing element of the plot, but I think it's a fun episode.
It's
Like,
so fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I
Buffy's hair
laughed
is-
more during that episode than any other. It was
Yeah.
just so funny, and it
I-
couldn't have been that funny if it wasn't so stupid.
And I
So I
love
love-
because I'm a huge fan of Good Will Hunting, and I love like how they threw in these the reference that the douche guy from college, being all like, I'm smarter than you, Xander, and like in totally that way at the Harvard bar at Good Will Hunting. Yeah, I'm just a nerd, so I
Oh, you
love
mean
when
the
I see
Harvard bar?
the Harvard bar. I'm sorry, I'm from Boston. I should do that right.
Yeah.
So no, I'm a sucker.
I thought about it again when Riley goes off. He says he's got to see a girl. I thought he was going to say, I got to see about a girl,
Yeah,
which is the line from Good Will Hunting.
yeah.
Mm.
I thought we were gonna get more Good Will Hunting from Joss Whedon, but alas.
I was sad.
So Spike's back in his cell. He pretends that he drank the drug blood. The doctors come to get him. He attacks. He lets Tom out, and then he uses Tom as like a human shield by throwing him into the commandos, and then he runs off. We see Riley go to visit Willow and ask for her advice. And Willow is like super guarded at first, but then she opens up, and it's actually very sweet. The way that Willow talks to Riley, it's very different than the way that she talked to Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he starts telling the likes and I love the bit when Willow pushes all the weapons under the bed
Yes.
when he walks in the room.
He's like,
That was
sorry,
really
she's
cute.
willing to do it. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway.
And he's like, let me help you. Yeah. Yeah,
I love that he
great.
doesn't like it's also consistent to his character of not asking questions.
Correct.
He's just like, oh, you need help with this thing? Like, I'm never gonna ask why, I'm just gonna do the thing. Like
Correct. So Spike goes back to Harmony's lair and says, I love this scene, and says, I'm back for good, baby. Like, we're gonna do whatever you want, we're gonna go wherever you want, we're gonna kill whoever you want, but first we gotta go kill Buffy.
but also the Go on, BJ.
I was wondering, do you see what Harmony was hanging on the wall when he came in? She's
A
like putting some
poster.
poster up. Yeah, could you make out what it was? I couldn't. I was just wondering if any of you did.
I thought it was one of those like kitten like hang in there inspirational
Was it?
posters. I think so. I could be getting that confused, but I'm pretty sure that's it.
Isn't that also like there's the dialogue back and forth where she's like, you staked me and you left me, but you forgot the other thing I did. I missed you.
Right? Right. Yeah, he's really smooth with Harmony.
It's so amazing.
So they're at the party. Willow is trying to help Riley flirt with Buffy, but then a Dingoes Ate My Baby song comes on and she decides to leave. Xander finds Harmony crying. I love this scene so much.
Greatest.
Burning a bunch of Spike stuff.
I
And
want to
then they
listen to
get
the
into
Sex Pistols. Ew.
they get into the best fight I think in the entire series. Joel, what do you think of this fight?
When it got into slow motion. That was I just lost it.
I gotta tell you, I loved everything about this episode. I thought it was just so much fun. It was another just fun one. I thought it was very reminiscent of Beer Bad. I thought it was so good. I like this formula he's using now.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about our final thoughts on this episode, but that fight scene, I love it so much. The hair pulling and the slapping, like it's exactly what a fight between Xander and Harmony would look like.
100%, because he does not know how to fight. I don't know what G.I. Joe Xander taught him, but I don't think it was anything.
So
he did say he was getting a little rusty on what he remembered, but clearly he rusted all the way through. I mean,
and then they call it truce.
Left.
They call it truce, and that truce is hilarious. They just decide to stop fighting each other. And then she's the one that reveals that Spike is back, which is interesting. So Xander goes and, so Riley is trying to chat up Buffy and to let her know that Spike's, and Xander interrupts them to let her, I can't think today. Xander interrupts Buffy to let her know that Spike is back. And then Riley gets called away as well. And they go into like their frat house or wherever they live, the housing they live in. They go into a hidden elevator. They go down the elevator shaft. The doors open, and we find out that they are the Commandos and that Professor Walsh is the leader of the team.
There is really seriously like a sub-universe to Sunnydale. Like there's a second city because there's so much that happens underground as well. This is ridiculous. Hashtag acceptance.
Yes. You honestly, with the geography of Sunnydale, you really have to hashtag acceptance your way through it. Like it's a town that is so small. It has 35,000 population. But they have a university, at least 2 high schools, a zoo.
A zoo?
Yes.
But it's not necessarily a big zoo.
And underground confinement areas. You've got an underground to the one with the penis snake. You've got an underground to the Hellmouth. You've got an underground to the secret lair with magical scientific instruments. Like, what? Really?
It's like Disneyland. Disneyland has a series of tunnels under it, it's just like that.
And there's demons down there.
It's true.
And above ground. It is Disneyland.
Yeah.
So they find out that, so Professor Walsh reveals to them that Hostel 17, who they know as Spike, has escaped. And the guys all suit up and they head around Sunnydale to go try to find Spike. So Riley's team sees Buffy sitting on a bench. Riley says that he refuses to make her be their bait, and he goes to get rid of her. And this scene is also great. The scene of the two of them on the park bench being like, well, I'm not leaving. I'm fine. I'm just sitting here. I can sit here. It's a free country, whatever. And then they hear a girl scream and they both perk up and run away. Avens, how many episodes do we get of this like foreplay between like Buffy and Riley don't know each other's secrets? Is it all the way till Hush?
Yes, I believe so. But I remember there's a number of things that are going to happen coming up. I'm not going to spoil any of it, but I remember originally watching it and I just remember it taking longer than it does. Like when I actually rewatched it, I'll be like, God, that it's like a 6-episode arc, and then it's we moved on to the next phase of the thing. Anyway, so I won't spoil anything coming up, but yeah, we get until I think Hush on this kind of stuff. So
who did they hear screaming?
Willow.
Yeah,
but didn't
that was Willow?
Wasn't the time off on that?
I think we're going
Hashtag acceptance, BJ. That's
yeah,
just
I think the Willow scream was later.
No,
So
I think it was.
I think it was kind of going back into exactly what was happening at the same time.
Yeah,
sort of,
I guess so. It wasn't clear, but that must have been it. Yeah.
I mean, they didn't need to put 10 minutes earlier, knock, knock, come in. We don't need the thing.
Yeah,
it's implicit, BJ. It's implicit.
Spike finds Buffy's dorm and goes to try to catch Buffy, and then Willow's in there. Willow answers the door. Spike comes in. Spike throws her against the bed and tries to bite her, and then he has this
stunt
crazy.
Woman.
Nope.
You see her face.
No stunt woman.
Yeah.
And then Spike has this like crazy pounding like head pain, and we find out that he is incapable. Do we know yet?
Fighting.
Impotent. Impotent.
Yeah, yes. Yeah,
He has
he's
an implant that makes him not able to attack people.
Except
Correct.
when he's escaping the initiative, at which point he had no problem.
Maybe it wasn't activated yet.
It wasn't turned on yet.
Okay.
Or maybe it only worked when he left. You know, maybe he had to leave.
See, that's a smart way to go. You imprison somebody, give them this protection thing, but not while they're there. Because
Right, right.
I think they have to turn it on because wasn't it a tracker too?
no, because they were still
Not
They-
Parker.
looking around for him.
Yeah,
Oh.
it wasn't a tracker because they had to use the temperature thing to figure out. They were like, human temperature. We got a cold one.
Right.
That's
And
him.
even before that, they had to split into 3 teams and look all around.
Right.
I mean, if you were gonna put an implant in someone's head, wouldn't you like automatically be like, "Oh, should put a tracker in this too. Don't want to lose them."
Or a remote control just to cause the pain. You know, that would pretty much immobilize him immediately. But,
Right.
you know, hash browns.
So Spike Spike is there. He tries to bite Willow. She hits him with the lamp. The commando guys cut the power. They go in, they catch Spike, but they can't. They have to figure out whether they're going to take Willow or not. And Spike breaks free, uses the fire extinguisher as a shield, fills the whole corridor with smoke. Buffy arrives. She fights Riley and his friends. Spike escapes through a window, and Buffy and Riley beat the shit out of each other and don't recognize each other. But I love Buffy with the flare gun.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the flare bouncing out the walls. That was some good special effects for the show, honestly.
It was. That was really, very smart.
The entire scene in the corridor of the dorm was fantastic. The fighting was good. The effects were good. It was perfectly done.
Yeah,
Perfectly.
But
But not as perfect as the scene you just glossed over with the best dialogue between Willow and Spike. That was
That
so
was
beautiful.
so good.
I bet it happens to all vampires. Why don't we wait a half hour and try again?
Not that I know anything about that, but let me tell you, that is real funny stuff.
So they decide to retreat because they see that Spike has escaped. Professor Walsh is all kinds of pissed off. He confirms that at least the chip is Riley confirms that at least the chip is working. Spike can't kill or even harm a human without feeling pain. And then Riley catches up with Buffy and they talk. Buffy says to Riley that he's a little peculiar and he says, I can live with that. And that's the end of the episode. Hey, I did want to talk to somebody else real quick. If you guys don't mind, I have someone that wants to talk about that fight scene. Are you guys cool with it? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Sounds great.
Hey, are we here? Let's see. Nikki, can you hear us?
Did you just okay cool me?
No,
Just-
you're always okay. Cool. Nikki, we just watched The Initiative.
Is that the episode where we have the slow motion fight?
That's the episode where you and Harmony have the slow motion fight.
Yeah, because I want to watch that shit because I haven't seen that scene since it was on TV.
Do you it's hilarious, first of all. Do you remember filming it? Like can you cue us in on like how that scene came to be?
From the magical world of Disney. No. It came from I went to Mercedes' house. It was a Friday night. Her boyfriend was out of town. I started giving Taj had some wine. And it'd be funny, a slow motion fight scene. So I think this from Joss's mind, it's when I read it, I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Because what's it? Was that season 4 or 5?
This is 4.
4.
So I'm now in the last episode I watched with you was I think Teacher's Pet.
Yeah, it's been
How are we liking the show now though? Is it better?
Jewel.
Yes. Okay. Definitely. We've
Because last
upped
we
it.
talked, it was like, oh man, she's gonna jump ship.
Yeah, it was. I believe it was a 40% approval rating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're hitting maybe a 60 now. I've been very impressed with the last couple episodes.
So we're not. So we're not going to Harvard.
Right.
Or maybe doing like a community college for 2 years,
Yeah.
then head
But-
to an Ivy League. Maybe.
But Aunt Becky has to pay her way in.
yeah, 100%. No scholarship.
Yeah.
This is
No
this is your
scholarship.
dad's a janitor for that college.
Nikki, Jewel also loved Beer Bad.
I loved it.
Nothing can defeat the penis.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Fucking line. I love
That
it.
was the first thing I wrote in my episode notes. I was like, that.
I
Oh,
laughed
fucking, nothing can defeat the
hard.
penis. And it's
It
so
was
great.
so
And it's just so
funny.
out of fucking left field. You know what I mean? I'm just walking down the girls and saying nothing can defeat the penis. It's great.
Yeah. No, Nikki, I wanted to ask you, like, your character becomes so much more like developed in the 4th season versus like he's kind of the same throughout the first 3 seasons, and then when you get to the
High
4th
school,
season, yeah, really, and then you get to the 4th season, and you're
And
like
I had a boob job. Totally.
right, yeah. Your character's a female now, named Harmony. It's crazy. No, but your character has developed so much and become like you're the one that didn't go to college. You're the one that had a normal job. You're whatever. Like,
Is the start of season 4? Is that where I say I worked at a strip club, but I'm not ready to talk about it yet?
at a male
Yeah.
strip club, yes.
I love that.
Yes. Now, when are we getting that spinoff?
It's called My Dick
By Nikki Brenton.
by Nikki Brennan and Mickey Avalon.
Yeah,
My
like,
dick, 10 foot tall.
but
I
all
don't
of our
want a
viewers.
10 foot tall dick, by the way. I do not.
No,
I'm gonna,
that's
I'm
too
going
much
on the
dick.
record. I don't want a dick that's taller than me.
No, that would be awkward.
It would be. I would
Yeah.
I'd be a freakness.
Yeah.
And it's
I
not the
wanted
early
to-
1900s, so I would have no job. There's no like fucking circus that I could go to with my 10-foot dick.
No, there are no more circuses.
No
in
more
the world.
no more dick circuses around.
No
That's-
dick circuses.
Like Dick
That's a
Cat is
delete-
gone.
That's a
Yeah.
deleted scene from Greatest Showman.
The greatest blowman.
Nikki, all of our viewers talk about how much they love Xander in this. Even the viewers that weren't crazy about Xander in the first 3 seasons love Xander in season 4. And I would say, like, throughout the rest of the series, you're kind of the voice of reason in this group of lunatics.
Yeah, I mean, that's why fucking Nathan Fillion takes out my eye and took my job.
Yeah.
It's he's like I know you're the one that sees everything. Let's see what we can't do about that.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love in that part. I don't love the fact that he took Captain Mal away from me though. That
Yeah, Nikki was supposed to be the lead in Firefly.
written for me. Firefly was written for me, and so I finally started watching it last week. I watched the pilot episode because I'm like it was just too personal. You know what I mean? I couldn't.
Yeah.
And so now and I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed it. And knowing that Joss had to write that script a week before they fucking shot because Fox, they're idiots over there.
That's not untrue.
Rewrite the whole fucking thing, a 2-hour fucking thing in a week. I really believe that Fox TV network was Rupert Murdoch's like tax thing. He needed to lose money all the time, for right.
Yeah, it was like a producer situation, but with every show.
Mhm.
Yeah, we started a sister podcast. We're talking about a show called Wonder Falls that nobody remembers. That was a Brian Fuller series.
I remember the name. Was it on WB?
It was on Fox. It got canceled after 4 episodes, right after Firefly.
Well, then have it. Do something about Kitchen Confidential. We got canceled after 4 too.
We'll do a Kitchen Confidential podcast. Why not? We're starting all kinds of spinoffs. We have a West Wing one coming up. We'll do sorry?
West Wing? Is that about chicken wings?
Yes, it's about chicken wings.
Only on the left side though. If I'm keeping my right side wings, you can have the West Wing.
Nikki, what was that Criminal Minds? Was that the one that you were on?
Yes, 8 years.
Oh, okay. I don't like procedural shows, generally speaking, but why not? Let's do Criminal Minds podcast.
I mean,
I love Criminal Minds.
I have a litmus test where it's when a fan, usually women 30 and under that's smiling at me and walking towards me, it's Buffy, and women 60 and older, it's going to be Criminal Minds. I don't know, but I've had some people say, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I loved you on both shows," but I mean, Criminal Minds is my show, and I'm thinking to myself, "Cool, I'm going to be cordial to you right now." We'll never, you know what I mean?
But then when
It's
someone's
like-
like, Buffy's my show, it's like, let's get drunk and party.
40% of the dialogue that was written on the script out. Cool. Moving on. On Buffy. hey, Brindles, Nikki. It's Josh. The emotion was perfect, but I put that "the" there for a reason. Copy that, sir. You got, and I
Right.
love Shamar, but he's throwing in baby girls and all that shit. I'm like, good God. I mean, it's a 42-minute script that's become an hour and 8 minutes because of baby girl. What's up, baby girl? You know, it's like
Nikki,
baby
I got
girl, pause and what's my line? What's my line?
Nikki, I gotta ask, and tell me to fuck off if this is inappropriate. But what do you think about all this drama with Joss Whedon happening right now?
I think it's been proven that the one fuck that started it is lying.
Yeah,
And he was unhappy where his fucking character was going. You know what's fun? What's ironic about this though? He's gonna be really unhappy where all of his characters go.
yeah,
I didn't listen. We're all flawed. You know what I mean?
yeah,
We've all made fucking mistakes, and I speak from experience that when you are in a celebrity or whatever the fuck I am, you get blasted. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's unfair, and until there has to be true evidence. I don't want to hear the fucking reporters reporting on he said, she said.
Right.
At the end, because what happens, and you know, now mind you, when you've been arrested as many times as I've been arrested, there's a pattern there, and so I had to look at myself like, what's going on?
Right.
But report it at the end when when charges are dropped. That's when it's kind of like, but let the kind of shit. It's like, it's just weird. And it's one of those things that I really enjoy what I do. I'm an artist,
Yeah.
and I embrace that, and I'm really good at it. If you're good at something, you should say that you're good at it and don't do false modesty. I never thought about that side of it, and especially because it was before when I got into acting in 97,
Yeah.
96, 95. There was no really internet, really. There's no social media. So these trolls and these fucking online bullies are just kind of like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, we've had so many guests.
I'm
Like
gonna
we
chat
had.
for a day, see how great their life is.
Right.
Okay, good call.
We had
Oh,
we had like Harry Grunner on the show who played Mayor
I love
Wilkins.
him so much. I talk about
He
Harry
is fabulous. Yeah.
so much.
We had him on, and he was just talking so much praise about Joss and how great it was to work with him. We had Robia Lamort, who played Jenny Calendar, on. She was fabulous. Even people like Andy Umberger, who played DeHoffrin, the leader of the Vengeance Demons. We had him on.
DeHoffrin.
He was great. And everyone talks about how great Joss is to work with. So when I see things talking about like he's a hard ass or whatever, I'm just like, he probably ran a tight ship. I'm sure he ran a tight ship, but like,
So, for instance, Dean Butler, Buffy's father, right?
yeah,
And Dean was a very nice guy. He's exactly how you think he would be, and that's very, very sweet and very cordial. And I remember when I had heard that they'd hired Dean Butler, and I'm like, okay, that's odd. I didn't think Little House on the Prairie. I thought the dad on The New Digit.
right.
Okay, cool. And then so I'm walking onto the stage one, and we always had an 18-wheeler parked about 15 feet away from where the stage is, so it ran like parallel. And I'm walking in, and I see Joss doing his thing. When his thing is this, when he's like thinking about something and worried and pissed, he kind of hunches over like that, you know,
Yeah.
and just. So I pass him like as I like, and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, you all right?" He's like, and he looks at me. He's like, "I fucked up, Nicky. I fucked up. I said, "What?" He's like Dean Butler. I said, "Well, I mean, what did you think you were getting, buddy?" You know what I mean? It's like, and he knew his lines. He's like, he's milquetoast, Nicky. I said, "I know."
That's why you hired him.
And he's like, "I fucked up." And he's like, "The thing is, I can't kill him because it'll change Buffy's emotional arc."
Right.
I was so pissed.
But it was weirder that he just disappeared.
Well, that's the great thing. So Joss knew he couldn't kill him because actors that like to that like to pontificate on Joss's dialogue would be killed the next episode.
Correct.
And what he did do was the best thing. And if you think about this is why I love Joss. This is why I'd follow him over a cliff.
Yeah.
But then he'd be like, I'd be falling down going, ah, to my death. And he'd be like, over the cliff, psych. I'm like, buddy. But so we were approximately like in Santa Cruz, in that part of California. He took the latitude and longitude of Santa Cruz and moved him to the exact opposite end of the earth, latitude, longitude wise.
Right.
Fucking brilliant. You know, I said, but I said, that's great, but can I pitch something to you, Joss? He's like, sure. Because he let me pitch to him because he stole my fucking lines and would use them in all of his fucking adventure movies. I said, why don't we have it like, can we put him in a big sheet of glass like Zod? Have you floating it out of space?
Yes. Buffy's dad. Buffy's dad's in the Phantom Zone.
We need to have a nod to Zod.
Yeah.
Anyway, the slow
Yeah, it's the slow motion fight scene. So did you and Mercedes have to like choreograph that, or did it just kind of come about naturally?
But the thing, I had learned my lesson after the pack, because remember, I think we talked about this.
Yeah.
I didn't know, because now the pack was episode 5 or 6. I had done at that point 4 or 5 episodes of television in my entire lifetime.
Sure.
I'd have gotten this show based on anything, and that's why there was a higher person intelligence that was at work there. But so we're shooting the slow motion scene, and it's camera rehearsal, which, as you guys know, everything's the same except film's not running. Right on set. Yeah.
Right.
Action. Cool. And I start doing this. I'm walking in slow motion.
Right.
And I hear, cut. Nikki, what are you doing? I said, it's a slow motion walk scene. They said, no, you walk normal. We'll do it for you.
We'll fix it in post.
That's how green I was. So
nice.
When you learn that way in front of your whole crew, because, even though it was episode 5 or 6, I was number 2 in the call sheet, and they was my family,
Right,
they gotta be
right.
like, fuck, we're in for a ride. And so then when we got to that slow motion scene, having learned the lessons that I had learned, I knew that, and even when I did the one in the pack, my have much more exaggerated movements. And it's the same thing in Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered. I remember when we were going by, and I remember I made sure to kind of touch my face because I thought that would look good, You're thinking slow motion instead of like real, and it's like I remember our movements being very, very, very big and
scrutinized.
Vaudevillian, is that a word? Vaudevillian?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Horrible fucking like that's a bad person in a movie. Like,
Vaudevillain.
Vaudevillian.
Hey, Nikki, before we let you go, we're going to be covering Hush in a couple weeks. And I obviously everyone talks about Hush. I would love to hear any insights you had on filming that episode. Well, I read that you guys filmed it and recorded the dialogue, and then they just cut the dialogue out in post.
No, that's not true.
No, that's not true. All right, tell us.
Who makes up this shit?
I don't know.
Guys, go to the bother of writing dialogue that's in a cut. No, it's like we all. And I'll touch on it real quick here, and then I'll bye to you because you're really starting to turn me on. I didn't read stage direction in any other script outside of Hush, because when we rehearse the master, it's all that shit's gonna change anyway.
Yeah.
So why I want to get to my lines and I want to break them down, and so it was the only script where I read the stage direction because that was the script.
Right.
That was the lines. So that but no, there was no.
Was it difficult to film?
No, no.
Okay.
It was I think the artist had just come out too. So
right.
There was a silent, and again, like slow motion, I have an expressive face to begin with, but you make it a little bit bigger,
Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
Really what, making it. I remember. I'll leave you with this, but Kelly, my twin brother, when you're an identical twin, and then one of the twin becomes a celebrity, for lack of a better word, it's not great for the other twin. He's getting the bullshit. He's not getting really the good stuff. And so he and I had a strained relationship for a long time because of the show, not because of anything that I had done or he had done. It was just the show,
Yeah.
So
sure.
he hadn't seen any episodes of it. And so I'm taking him through all the episodes now because, with time comes healing.
Yeah, of course.
And we watched The Replacement. And
that's the one he's on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember after that episode, after we shot it, he said, Nikki, 2 things. He's like, because he always thought that acting was easy because I was acting for 2.5 months and I booked Buffy. He's like, 2 things. Acting is not easy, and you're really good at what you do.
Nice.
And that was the first. That was the beginning of the healing for us.
Yeah.
And so I remember we were watching the scene, and I pointed it out to Kelly because I can now after 15 years. There's a scene where I'm like Frumpy Xander is behind the payphone, and then Cool Xander's walking down the street, and I'm like, and we're watching on Facebook Live. I said, Kelly, I gotta say something real quick. You could tell that you are totally aware of the camera. And he knows it too. You know what I mean? And I think that's what he was saying. Where it's like when I heard that the film go into, like I just relaxed. Like and he was the opposite for him. You know, and it was. I'm happy that he had done it because we never talked about it. I said, "Were you nervous going to work to act?" He's like, "Fuck yeah, I was." Because we didn't discuss it.
Sure.
That's sad. To me, that's sad. And that's what's wrong with this country.
but now people can go on and they can watch you and occasionally Kelly as well watch these episodes together.
Kelly, the geisha Kelly.
No, I said occasionally Kelly.
I heard.
But geisha Kelly works.
Geisha Kelly, I want to see that. I'll pay for that.
And people can watch this on your Facebook Live, right?
Facebook Live, absolutely.
FacebookLive.com/
whatever
it is. Look for Nicholas Brendan.
_ Go Dodgers.
Yes.
Baseball.
All right, Nikki. Thank you so much for joining us. This was a blast.
No, you're the size of a thimble on this thing.
I could do this and look. Now we're all even, but then you're tiny.
Okay, would you introduce me real quick, just because I hit the ground running, so I want to say hi and bye at the same time.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Nicholas Brendan is here.
Thank you very much. Okay, so who are you with, Brendan?
With William Morris Agency.
Sorry, you dropped that name. I just picked it up for you.
Very nice.
So, Brandon, what you got? Well, what don't I got, man? I'm pretty sure the syphilis is back. I know I got all the herpes.
No. You're Mr. Syphilis.
Hey, man.
In fact, you're Mr. Syphilis in our next episode.
The funny syphilis.
It pangs.
Pangs is one of the words.
Pangs is one of my favorite episodes. I love Pangs.
It's the bear.
The bear's great.
I swear to God, at one point, they forgot to put the bear head on the human being, and we're just fighting a guy in a bear suit with a human head.
Jewel hasn't seen Pangs yet, but I'm so excited for her to see it.
But one of my favorite lines is, this might be the syphilis talking, but some of this made sense.
All right, Nikki. Well, thank you so much. You're always wonderful to have on. Come on anytime you want.
Invite me.
Will do.
Because what happened, I called Sarah. Then Sarah said, I said yes, and then boom, here we are.
We are.
It's hard to come on the
Nikki.
show when you're not calling or nothing.
And everyone go find Nikki on all social media stuff. He streams like crazy. You'll love him.
Marco! Marco!
Hello.
Yeah, Nikki's not there. We'll just end the show with that.
Bye, Nikki.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay, that was fun. Hey, now PJ's the featured guest.
He's like,
He's so entertaining.
No.
here's Nikki.
He's always fun. He's always fun to have on.
Oh, he was funny.
I
Before
was
we get to our,
disappointed. All we saw is the splatter. I'd like to see what he was painting.
yeah, we also have no new insights on the fight scene.
Oh no, it's just that he learned not to go in slow motion when they're put in slow motion. We learned something. Now I know if I'm ever being filmed not to go in slow motion.
I feel like what is there to learn from a fight scene? There was a fight. It was a scene. We move on.
I learned not to rock back and forth too much when I'm on camera because I was getting pretty woozy there.
All right, so a little bit of trivia before we get to our final thoughts on this episode. Seth Green has been removed from the opening credits, and James Marsters has been promoted to the main cast, and he will be a main cast member for the remainder of the entire series and the 5th season of Angel. Several of the names in the student directory that Spike is looking through to find Buffy's apartments are people that work in production on the show. Eric Parker, who's the assistant chief lighting technician, Marty Noxon's assistant, JD Peralta, stunt coordinator, Jeff Pruitt, hairstylist, Lisa Rosenberg, costume supervisor, Cindy Rosenthal, set designer, Victoria Ruskin, Leo Solis, the special effects guy. The point is, a lot of people. In the DVD commentary for this episode, Doug Petrie reveals that after Spike attacks Willow and the scene cuts to commercial after a fleeting glimpse of the corridor outside with people who failed to hear her screams, he wanted viewers to believe that Willow had actually been killed. Which is interesting. Jewel, you'll like this piece of information. The set for the initiative they actually filmed at Skunk Works, where they build the stealth bombers up there in San Bernardino.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
yeah. And they were told to go big, do it, go there. This is a big budget movie. That was Joss Whedon's direction on the set, which, you know, I would say I wouldn't call that quite a big budget set, but, you know, it's big and it's metal. Mercedes McNabb says that the fight with Xander was her favorite on-screen fight that she had on the show. There was no stunt doubles, but they wore knee pads and shin guards, which was kind of ridiculous, seeing as it was just such a cheesy fight. What else we got here? Anything? Forrest and Graham, Riley's two friends in the initiative, were meant to be Shakespearean sidekicks whose job was to tell the hero what his heart truly wants. So it's Shakespeare with ray guns and shit. is the exact quote by Doug Petrie. And the existence of a secret government corporate organization dealing with the bizarre supernatural is a recurring theme in Joss Whedon's works. It can be seen with S.H.I.E.L.D. in The Avengers, the organization in Cabin in the Woods, Blue Sun in Firefly, and the Rossum Corporation in Dollhouse.
Joss obviously has a problem with the man.
I think so.
Libertarian themes in Joss Whedon works. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, especially when we get to Firefly. Okay, let's talk some foreign language titles. The French title is Intrigue en sous-sol, or Schemes in the Basement. The Italian title is Le Pattugli della Notte, or Patrol of the Night. And lastly, you know, we got to talk about the Germans because we always do. But the German title for the initiative is The Initiative. So, way to come through, Germans.
We're not great.
Wait. I thought every German word was like 3 times longer than every American word, but not the initiative.
Yeah. I love that you just referred to our language as American. So, final thoughts and a letter rating. Let's start with our guest host, Avens.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at myself for doing that. I'm not usually that person, but there we go.
There we are.
Speak American, goddammit. Okay, so this episode, I like this episode a lot. It's fun. It's just got the right, I don't know, it's furthering the plot in ways that I'm really going to enjoy. And I think it's kind of like the beginning of like an arc I really love in this season, and in the show. So, yeah, I think I'd give it like a B or so, maybe, because it's like a comfortable, like, I really like this episode. It's not like the top tier, but it's like a totally solid, good episode. But I will say that years ago, I decided to introduce my boyfriend at the time to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and like this whole like stuff with the underground, the initiative and the underground military base and everything. And he's like, of course, it's a Joss Whedon show. Of course, this is going to be in it. Like, it was so funny. Like, he was like, I was afraid this was going to happen. And I was like, what? And he was like, so like, he was being kind of like overly petulant just for fun. But yeah, he was like, yeah, of course, it's Joss Whedon. Of course, there's an underground secret government conspiracy. Like, what's going to happen? And it was funny because it was the first time that I realized, like, well, you're right. That is like a Joss Whedon thing. Holy shit! Like, how did I not notice that? So anyway, but yeah, I like this episode quite a bit. And
I would even argue that like the senior partners in Wolfram and Hart on Angel are kind of like that. You know, it's not government, but it is like this overarching conspiracy that controls most of the world.
Yeah.
Jewel, final thoughts on the letter rating, please.
Oh, I love this episode. I agree with you, Avens. I feel like this arc is going to be something I'm really going to enjoy. I'm giving this a definitely. I'm torn between a B plus A minus. I thought it was great. I didn't have any upset with this episode whatsoever.
All right.
I love
BJ.
when Spike is back. Spike is so much more fun than anyone else.
I agree.
Spike is great.
I agree completely. BJ.
I enjoyed this very much. I thought it was very funny. I absolutely loved the Willow Spike scene. That I was just dying of laughter the entire time. Like I mentioned earlier, the action sequence in the hallway was terrific. I did like a little thing that when Willow and Riley are talking on the couch at the party, they say big bad. Did you catch that? One says big, the other says bad.
Yeah.
I just thought that was lovely little writing in there. Anyway, I gave it an A-. I thought all of the individual parts were fantastic. Somehow the show as a whole didn't really grab me that much. I didn't feel like emotionally committed to it. But all the parts worked really, really well. So A-.
Yeah, let's see. This episode is very funny. There's a lot of comedy in it. I feel bad for Willow. I hate sad Willow, and sad Willow is abundant throughout this because she makes me sad when she's sad. I'm going to give this episode, I haven't really thought much about it. I'm going to go ahead and give this episode a B-. It's entertaining. The problem is that I hate the initiative, and I hate where the storyline goes, and I hate Professor Walsh.
I'm loving the initiative right now. They're all hot. They all are something to look at, and they're nice boys for nice people. So I like them.
Okay.
Yeah, I humbly must say that the initiative storyline goes some way off the deep end, and I really don't like it. So, but we'll get to it.
Also, wait, can I also say real quick the thing I totally forgot to mention this episode that I just love is like when Willow's trying to give Riley like advice, and so she says that Buffy likes cheese. And like I just love how like that just got thrown in there, the like Buffy likes cheese, and then like later when he's trying to make conversation with her and he's like, cheese? Like it's like it's just so cute. Like I don't know why, it just makes me happy. Anyway,
maybe a certain cheese man is inspired by that line.
Right.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but in the meantime, here, cheese.
Maybe the cheese man comes from that line. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so our next thing we need to talk about is the Angel episode, The Bachelor Party.
No.
Doyle gets upset when his estranged wife, Harriet, comes to town asking for divorce so she can marry another man. She also wants to get Doyle's blessing, and things proceed so affably that Doyle is invited to the bachelor party. But the groom has nasty plans in store for Doyle. Before we start, the bachelor of the bachelor party is played by Carlos Jacot, who is a friend of the show, who was so sweet to come on our show and so lovely. So we're going to be nice to Carlos while talking shit about this terrible episode. Yeah, so basically Doyle is chilling at the office, and somebody else fill in the blanks here. Doyle is sitting at the office, and his ex-wife comes in. She is getting remarried. She needs him to sign the divorce papers so she can be remarried to this guy. Apparently she freaked out when she found out that he was a demon.
And now
Although
she works to
unclear at the
help.
beginning.
It's unclear because she works with demons to help them be okay with society or something. Like, doesn't she work in like a demon cause thing now?
You find all of that out later, but in that first scene, it's not even clear that she knew he was a half demon.
Correct. Is it?
How do you sleep in a bed with someone and not know they're half demon?
I mean, been there.
Well, I mean, he's successfly hiding it from Cordelia. I mean, granted,
Yeah,
He
that's
doesn't
true.
spend
He's having sex with Cordelia.
well, in his mind, I'm sure he is.
Yeah, exactly. Though I do want to cover the episode starts good. I like Cordelia going out on the date with the guy and saying he has a house in the hills and da da da. And if I don't come back in the morning, just empty my desk because it means that I moved up. Like, I love that from Cordelia. Like, Cordy in the beginning of this episode, fantastic. The rest of the episode, trash. It turns out that the fiance's new husband is also a demon, and that it's their tradition, their family tradition, to eat the brains of the ex-husband and absorb their power.
With a shrimp fork.
As
With a
one
shrimp
does.
fork. And then they go through this whole situation. I do like Doyle in the little thing, like wheeling his ass around in the little thing. I thought that was cute.
That shot, the camera mounted on the box, went around with him. Love that. It cracked me up.
Very, very clever. But yeah, I mean, I took a whole bunch of notes, but honestly,
Notes about what?
yeah, I know.
What did you take notes about? Because
Okay,
from
can we
what I
okay, let's
saw-
talk about that stripper. Let's talk about the stripper at the party. The homeliest stripper I've ever seen. That stripper was dressed fully dressed.
She was a belly dancing stripper.
She was not dancing, and there was no belly.
She was
like a
rubbing her
discount.
body.
Yeah, she like just went shopping at Forever 21 and then came over to the place after.
Listen, Brandon,
I know.
who let this episode get made?
It's really bad. Angel and Cordelia watch Doyle mope in the office. Cordelia goes and cheers him up.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
and
mope
then the
in
episode
office.
ends.
Him up. Like,
The episode ends. Doyle has a vision, and he knows that it's Buffy because he saw a bookmark of Buffy in Angel's book before. A photo of Buffy is being used as a bookmark, and he knows that it's Buffy. And he makes eye contact with Angel, and we know that shit's about to get real because we're getting some crossovers. And that's the end of the episode.
That really is the end of the episode. That was so dumb. And why did those monsters look like they were from Star Trek? What is going on?
You say that
We've
like
covered
it's
this
a bad thing.
We've covered this before, but
He
Carlos
looks
Chakotay.
like the Lion Man in Star Trek.
Carlos Chakotay is one of only 5 actors that's appeared on Buffy, Angel, and Firefly. It's one of only 2 Doyle-centric episodes, the other one being Hero, which is coming up soon. And the German title is Party mit Bis, which means party with bite. And the French title is Enterrement de Vie de Démon, or Demon Bachelor Party.
Nailed it.
That was very well done, Brandon. I have to say.
I don't know what to tell you. You know, my French is perfect.
Oui, oui.
Perfecto. Perfection.
Wow.
Perfect. Okay, listen. Why?
Final thoughts on the letter rating on this episode. Let's start with you this time, Joel.
I can't even, like, that's not fair. I can't keep scoring, giving it an F and scoring it. This is just terrible. This was terrible. And if you don't think this episode was terrible, I don't know who you are. I don't get it. Why? Brandon, why? When does it get better? Because you said it gets better, but why do we have to watch these terrible
Well, it's
episodes?
funny you should mention that. It gets better the next episode.
Do you mean when Buffy comes back because Angel is the most boring human on the planet?
I mean a crossover episode with Buffy, yes.
There you go. See, there is no point in him having his own show. Why did he get a spinoff?
BJ.
Great idea. Why doesn't Spike get a spinoff?
BJ, final thoughts on the letter rating?
Miss
I love
Edith-
that it starts off with Doyle saying that they now have trivia on the internet, which made me laugh. I love everything Carlos Chakotay does. I thought he was
He was great.
He was great. I did like that the Glenlivet bottle had a label that was written over it that just said Scotch, which I don't know if anybody else, but I own that Scotch, so I thought it was very funny. The vampire that Doyle rescues Cordelia from, I just couldn't help but thinking he was grunge Thunderdome vampire. That's what he was. I really enjoyed it because it was terrible. I don't know how I can explain that, but I think the worse the episodes are, the more I like them. I'm going to give this a B because I really had a fun time watching it, knowing that it was terrible and stupid. But I liked it.
Avins, final thoughts on the letter rating.
Why would anyone stick with this show? I don't get it.
So I mean, that's like the first season of Buffy's hard to get through too. So you know whatever,
No,
but
no,
not this part.
No,
Okay, I got you.
bad. This is awful.
So the thing is, like this. So first off, I just want to say that like I started watching this episode, and the first thing I noticed was like Carlos and being like, "Hey, wait, I know him from a Buffy episode."
From Ken,
and then
yeah.
like, and it's funny because it actually took me like I didn't look it up. I was like, "Who is he? Oh my god, he plays some kind of like preachy dude. Like he plays some kind of like," and it like took me a minute, and then I was like, "Is it the same kind of demon?" Like I like it literally like I was trying to watch the show, but I was like a little bit distracted by trying to figure this out without looking it up because I was just like so proud of myself that I could figure it out. And then I realized he's also in Firefly, and I was like, "Oh, he's that guy!" And then I looked him up after I realized it. But so I love him; he's good. I think the only like redeeming quality of this particular episode is probably like I like seeing Cordy grow, and so like I like that, you know, oh, she's having this date with this like rich guy, and then like and she's like, wow, this is really boring hearing about, you know, money management and like and stocks and, you know, and agriculture, weather, whatever the fuck he was talking about. And so like, and then the guy like runs off on her, like when they get attacked, like he just like drives away. And so like, and I love like her being like, I was just so bored. And like, and I was like, okay, you know, I love like, this is, you know, the progression of the growth of Cordy, and that's cool. But yeah, I mean, I have seen the Angel episodes that we've watched so far. I did not follow Angel previously. There's a reason. Like I actually semi skipped last week's episode, so I actually don't even like, I can't even compare it to that.
Don't worry, it was trash.
The only Angel episode that I ever watched prior to this was the next episode, which I remember being really good because I went looking for it. I wanted Buffy.
Quick question. Why did you watch this Angel episodes and not the other? Because Buffy was in it. Because no one cares about Angel. No one likes Angel.
You know, like I went hunting for Buffy and other things. So when I heard there was a crossover episode, I went and checked it out. But
because of Angel, because of Buffy. Because no one likes Angel.
So my experience so far with Angel has been like, I really liked Room with a View, and that's like so far like everything else has just been meh. And so I don't know how to score it because like, you know, like this was probably solidly on par for the terribleness of Angel so far. but I'm sure if it gets better in the future, then you know, this will be a D rating or something. But you know, as of now, it's like a C-. Like, you know,
zero. There is nothing to grade. This is there's no story. There's nothing happening. This is awful. I love the Buffys, and then every time I watch an Angel, I'm like,
that's not true. You liked Room with a View. You liked the one with Cordy and her ghost roommate.
That was the only one.
Room with a View is totally like, wonderful. But so far, I have not liked anything else that Angel's done. So.
Sarah Collison is annoyed that we skipped over little key shifts in the characters and whatever. Sarah, I'm sorry. We try to keep the show under an hour, and our Buffy episode took a lot of time. There's a lot to dissect in this episode in terms of the relationship between Cordy and Doyle, but here we are. Why
would we want to just Sarah, girl? Why? I feel
Sarah
like this episode is nothing.
I think that this episode is mostly inconsequential, and it's a Doyle episode, and Doyle doesn't really. I like Doyle. He's sweet, but I don't really care about him that much. I give this episode like a C-.
It's generous.
Yeah, it's not painfully bad in the way
you feel that Beer Bad is.
No, Beer Bad is a work of art. It
I'm
is
making fun of
Smithsonian
Brandon,
level worthy. This is just no, absolutely not. I think it's even mean to Beer Bad to put it in that same category. This is terrible.
I'm making fun of Brandon. That's all.
Before we go, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/GrrArghCast. It's $5 a month. You get exclusive bonus content. You get extended interviews with our special guests, and you join our private Facebook group where you can hang out with me and Jewel, and we can talk shit about anything you want to talk shit about, or share air fryer recipes, or talk about mental health issues. And our podcast is available on all podcast networks. I believe we have the first 35 episodes live now, so we're only 2 behind. So we'll be caught up real soon. We Bobbing Along, our Wonder Falls podcast continues next Sunday at 1 p.m. We'll be covering the episode Wound Up Penguin, where Jay has a crisis of faith because of cheese and a nun. Coming December 1st is Winging It, our West Wing podcast. Myself and Apollo Pizzell will be co-hosting. We will have guests from all over the political spectrum talking about the themes explored on the show. Avins, you like West Wing, right?
Yeah, I love West Wing. I may have seen West Wing episodes more than I've seen Buffy episodes in terms of the number of times.
Well, we will have to have you on for one of our episodes.
I'm totally down because I can go West Wing all day long.
And next Sunday, September 27th, we will be covering Pangs and I Will Remember You. Pangs is the Thanksgiving episode of Buffy, and I Will Remember You is the first crossover episode where Sarah Michelle Gellar makes an appearance. I love both of those episodes, so that should be fun. Hey, it's the end of the slideshow. I'll click to exit, and then I'll do this, so we don't have to look at that anymore. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Avins, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on the internet. No, Facebook. So Facebook, Avins O'Brien. Whoa, there we go. There it is. And then actually, if you go to avens.me is my website, avens.me. It literally links to anything. So if you want to see me on YouTube or any of the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, my Patreon, give me money, whatever. Like it's all there. It's all there. Like, so, you know, I'm just a loud person on the internet like everyone else.
Jewel and BJ, I'll see you guys next Sunday, 3 p.m. Pacific. And thank you everybody for watching. Join our Patreon and bye. Grr.
Grr,
Arg. Arg.